Foreign direct investment, FDI, in China has nosedived over the past 3 years, marking a drastic shift from its peak of $342 to $344 billion in 2021 to just $4.5 billion in 2024. This is according to official Chinese government data published yesterday, Friday. This represents a staggering 99% decline, driven by economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and Beijing's increasingly stringent national security measures. China's balance of payments data for 2024 highlights a sharp 90% drop in net FDI from the previous year, reaching its lowest level in 32 to 33 years, while the final quarter of 2024 showed a modest net inflow of $17.5 billion. This came after 2 consecutive quarters of outflows between April and September. Technology giants such as IBM, Microsoft, and Cisco Systems have downsized or relocated their research and development centers due to data transfer restrictions and increasing government oversight of the internet. Industries plagued by oversupply and overcapacity. Nippon Steel terminated a decades-long joint venture with Baoshan Iron and Steel, and South Korea's POSCO Holdings is reportedly considering selling its stainless steel factory in Zhejiang province. Similarly, Bridgestone ceased its truck and bus tire operations in China, and Sumitomo Chemical exited the polarizing film market for LCD panels. Automakers have also struggled to adapt to China's rapid shift toward electric vehicles. General Motors recorded a $4 billion charge last year for restructuring its joint ventures with SAIC Motor, while Japanese manufacturers like Nissan have been forced to reduce staff and production capacity. A survey by the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry in China revealed that only 16% of companies plan to increase their investments in China in 2025, while 21% intend to cut back, and another 20% have ruled out new investments altogether. Japanese investments in China in 2024 amounted to 493.1 billion yen, $3.2 billion, nearly unchanged from the previous year but significantly lower than a decade ago. China, traditionally a major recipient of Japanese capital. The U.S.-China trade rivalry has also influenced Japan's strategic economic decisions. As a key U.S. ally, Japan has started reassessing its relationship with China, diverting more investments towards the United States, where its capital influx has more than doubled over the past decade. In 2024, Japan's investment in the U.S. reached a record high of 11.7 trillion yen, $75.6 billion, accounting for 40% of its total foreign investments. The rise of Chinese automotive and home appliance industries has also reshaped the competitive landscape. Once dominant in China, Japanese car makers now hold less than 20% of the market, and companies like Nippon Steel have ended long-standing joint ventures due to declining sales. As Japan shifts focus towards alternative markets, including Southeast Asia and the U.S., its investment strategy underscores the evolving economic dynamics of the region. The Australian government has lodged an official protest with Beijing after a Chinese J-16 fighter jet deployed flares dangerously close to a Royal Australian Air Force (RAF) P-8 Poseidon surveillance aircraft over the South China Sea. The incident, which occurred at approximately 1 p.m. on Tuesday, saw the Chinese jet release flares within 30 meters of the Australian plane. The act was described by Australian officials as an unsafe and unprofessional maneuver. The defense minister emphasized the severity of the encounter, stating that the Chinese pilot could not have been certain that the flares would miss the Australian aircraft, which was conducting operations in international airspace at the time. Fortunately, the P-8 Poseidon and its crew of up to 12 personnel were unharmed. Australia's diplomatic protest underscores the continuing friction between the two nations' militaries, even as overall diplomatic and trade relations have improved. This is the first major confrontation between Chinese and Australian forces made public in 9 months. A similar incident occurred in May last year, when Australia accused the Chinese J-16 fighter of unsafe behavior near an Australian Navy Seahawk helicopter over the line of control, LOC, also once again in international airspace. China, however, has countered Australia's claims, asserting that the RAF aircraft had intruded into Chinese airspace near the Spratly Islands, a disputed region. A spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry defended the response, describing it as justified, legal, professional, and restrained. Beijing has made solemn representations to Australia over what it perceives as a deliberate violation of its sovereignty. Meanwhile, the Australian Defence Force, ADF, reportedly observed 3 Chinese warships, including a Jiangkai-class frigate, operating near northeast Australia in recent days. While their presence remains within legal bounds, the ADF acknowledged concerns over increasing Chinese military activity in the region. This latest confrontation highlights the persisting tensions in the Indo-Pacific, raising concerns about the potential for further military incidents in the future.